All right, everybody, we are less than 24 hours away from UFC 321 going down at Etihad Arena in beautiful Abu Dhabi. Tom Aspinall puts the undisputed heavyweight title on the line for the first time against fellow former interim champion Ciryl Gane. We got Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern for the vacant strawweight title. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. Pretty stakes-filled main card, some good prelim fights. Maybe not the highest of casual appeal in terms of name value, but I think we're going to have a damn good time. Not to mention, early day MMA is simply just the best MMA. As we welcome you to the UFC 321 Aspinall versus Gane preview show here on MMAfighting.com. I am Mike Heck, and joining me once again is Mr. No Gray Area himself, the climber of all climbers, the hot take kid, and a man who is just so excited to sing the Tommy Aspinall song right about now. Jed Meshew, how we doing, buddy?
Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall. Na. I'm pumped, as you can see over my shoulder. We talked about it a little yesterday at BTL. I weighed the pros and cons. Is this better because the Al Salwadi fight fell off? Yes, undeniably. Easily, like, if you were going to pick a fight to leave the card, that was the one. Like, ooh, be kind of nice to get us down to a nice round. I think we're at 12 now. Is that correct?
13.
Oh, we're at 13. We was see, yeah, 14 is too many anyway. So, like, you could trim some of the fat. And if you were going to trim some of the fat, that was the one to go. So losing that, but mainly it was just like, you know, it is the Michelin star system, right? If this was in town, 1 star, I'm definitely going. If this was in Nashville, about a 4-hour drive for me, I'm going. I'm going to take the trip up to Nashville to go see this card. I love the main card. Stakes galore. I know not everybody's in on the co-main event. We talked a lot about that at BTL, but I'm a truther. I'm in on the co-main event. A lot of stakes in the feature bout, and I think the other 2 main card fights are very good. And there's just enough juice on the prelims, right? The Rebetsky Klein fight, I think that's got juice. Alaskarov Iron Turtle, I think that's probably an above replacement level fight. It's like right on the line of above replacement level, but it's there. And Hawkparas Skillet, Salkild, I think there's just enough juice. Maybe I'm being generous. I'm giving it 2 stars, Mike.
I think you're being a little bit generous, but I think we're weighing the early day MMA thing just again. And I don't blame you because I do the same thing. I think this excitement levels, if this was...
I actually am not weighing that because I'm not excited. Well, I am in general excited about it. The other side of this, as you can tell, I'm in my home office. I am not back in Savannah yet.
Oh, yeah.
I either am driving back to Savannah this evening after work at like 9, which I don't really want to do. So I'm probably waking up, and instead of waking up and going to the gym, I'm getting in the car and driving more or less straight to your house from Atlanta. So I'm less excited about that part of it, but it will be nice to, see my parents, get to have dinner with them will be lovely after the fights, watch some college football, go to bed at a reasonable hour, and wake up at a reasonable hour on Sunday.
Yeah, I love all of that. It will be the once a year I'm not grumpy on to the next one, especially the live shows.
This is
one
it.
I will not be grumpy. So I'll be pretty pumped for that. But let's get into this thing. Let's talk about this main event, Jed, because I've seen so many different takes on this, and a lot of people are talking about the pressures on both Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane, but it seems like the Tom Aspinall pressure is one of the biggest storylines heading into this card. And I know I spoke to John Anik about it. He's essentially, if there was like a Mount Rushmore of fighters with pressure on their shoulders all time in the UFC, Anik thinks that Tom Aspinall, his face might be on that mountain right there, because all the hype, the John Jones stuff, everything that has gone down, if he goes out there and loses to Ciryl Gane, sure, he could get the belt back, but when we talk about like the greatest heavyweights of all time, it's going to take Tom a lot of work to get back there, especially after losing to Ciryl Gane. So short-term stakes high, long-term stakes could be high as well when we talk about the all-time greats. But how much pressure do you feel is on Tom Aspinall heading into this fight? Because even at media day, it's like well, most people think you're just going to run through this guy. And Tom is saying the right things. Look, I'm taking this guy really seriously. He's very dangerous. I know he's had time to improve on some stuff. So I'm fighting a very good dude. But how much pressure is on Tom Aspinall tomorrow, in your opinion?
I don't think it's as much as people think. I think we want to foist this pressure on him because of the circumstances. And there's pressure. He is a defending champion. There's always pressure on a defending champion, especially a champion in his circumstances, right? This is his first official title defense, his first undisputed title defense, and he's a massive betting favorite. Their pressure comes with that. I'm not here to say that there's no pressure. I think the pressure is mostly in our heads because of the John Jones of it all, right? Like, because the John Jones looms, and well, to me, that's not even real pressure, because the unsaid part of it is, well, he'll never get to fight John Jones if he loses, and then John Jones will have this one over him. But he won't, because John Jones never fought him. He chose not to fight him. I believe he's never going to fight him. Maybe he will. We can't say definitively that he won't, but like, I feel a lot of the pressure being talked about is as if this is a surrogate for fighting John Jones. And I don't feel that way at all. And I don't think Tom feels that way at all. I don't feel like Tom is coming into this fight with any more pressure than he would put on himself to defend the belt against anyone. If it was John Jones, yes, all the pressure is there because, he can do something that has more or less never been done before. And I feel like people are trying to read that onto this fight, and that there's like, well, he needs to beat Ciryl better than John did. And it's like, no, John could have fought him. John chose not to fight him. John doesn't get to win if Ciryl Gane wins on Saturday. That John opted not to fight this dude. And I don't blame John for that, but I feel that that's a lot of the conversation about the pressure part. When I think the pressure facing Tom Aspinall is purely the pressure of the expectations in general of being the next guy at heavyweight. Hey, we all think you can do this. Now you got to actually do it. You got to put your nose down and you got to grind away. And that's pressure. Undeniably, there is pressure there. I don't think he feels it, and I think he's going to have a great performance on Saturday.
Yeah, I definitely understand the conversation here because, and I'm with you. I don't think John Jones is a factor. John Jones is off the table. Like, Tom isn't even talking about John anymore. Anytime he's even asked about John, it's just like, yeah, he could do what he wants. He's earned it. All the best.
That's the thing. He was never talking about John. He was talking about the heavyweight champion of the world, the guy who was preventing him from being the heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And once that was over, then it's over. Like, he wasn't, John is John. John made it about himself. Tom didn't make it about John.
Yeah. And I think there's certainly pressure on Tom, and I think he's probably feeling it too. I think there's more pressure on something else besides Tom, but they don't give a shit. There's pressure on the UFC here because if Tom Aspinall goes out and loses to Ciryl Gane, they screwed this thing up so badly. Like, they allowed John Jones to run this division, to sort of run the company in a lot of ways, while Tom had to sit on the shelf, and they had to basically shelve Tom in hopes to make this John Jones fight that was never going to happen in the first place. So it's one of those situations where, yeah, the UFC is going to take a little bit of flack, but they don't care. They're just going to wipe their tears with $100 bills and they'll be fine with it. The other thing you look at from a pressure standpoint is how he sort of view this, because I am spectacularly confident that Tom Aspinall is going to win tomorrow. It's been my feeling from Jump Street. This is the reason why I didn't want this fight to begin with. It's a horrific matchup for Ciryl Gane. And I understand that Tom is somewhat untested because he hasn't gone through sort of the deep waters or really had to struggle in a lot of his fights in any way, shape, or form. And Ciryl has gone 5 rounds and he's been in there with the best dudes who have ever competed in this division in a lot of respects. But this, to me, feels like Tom Aspinall is the New York Yankees up 3-0 against the Boston Red Sox in the 2004 American League Championship Series. There's no way they can lose this. And then all of a sudden, the Red Sox come back, don't let us win tonight, and they win the next 4 and win the World Series. And I don't care what the Yankees accomplish for the rest of my time on this earth. I will never forget that moment. that the Red Sox came back and beat them. So if you want to beat the Red Sox in this particular series this season, I could care less because we have 0-4 hanging over your heads forever and ever. And that's kind of how I feel from like a true sportsman and a sports fan perspective. This feels like an absolute must win for Tom Aspinall because next week will be absolute insanity if somehow Ciryl Gane wins this fight. So I ask you, Jed Meshew, forget the betting lines, forget what Tapology says, forget what the pundits and experts say. If Ciryl Gane beats Tom Aspinall and wins the heavyweight title tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, I guess, where would that rank on the most surprising things you have seen in a UFC championship fight?
I mean, it's up there. It wouldn't, probably not top 5 or top 10, right? Because the truth of the matter is Ciryl Gane is a good fighter and it's heavyweight. And heavyweight is, I am very confident in Tom Aspinall. I will not pretend that I will have seen this coming, but it is heavyweight. And heavyweight is almost always a crapshoot. It's why the most title defenses is 3 or whatever. Like it is a really hard thing to do. Everybody hits hard. None of them are all that good. And so, just kind of rolling the dice. But at the same time, like stylistically, this fight seems like it's a bad matchup for him. But also, we still don't know that much about Tom Aspinall. As crazy as it is to say, he's kind of in that Francis Ngannou the first time he challenged for the belt fight. Is like, yeah, he just keeps blowing people up. Don't really know like what he looks like after 7 minutes. So there's absolutely a world where Ciryl Gane has improved his defensive grappling and or Tom just tries to punch him in the head instead of tackle him. And this fight gets a lot more interesting, a lot more quickly. And if that happens, credit to Ciryl Gane, however it goes. Winning is winning. I will be surprised. It would not rank as, Bisping over Rockhold or Holm Rousey or Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya. Like it won't rate in the context of the greatest upsets ever, but it will be certainly a really significant one, right? Arguably the biggest one of the year. I'm trying to think like off the top if something else jumps out. Like maybe Merab over Umar, just because that started, his current run. But like it would be a very significant and an impressive upset win that I won't see coming, but I won't like have to pick my jaw up off the floor if it happens.
I guess like another thing that I've kind of thought of through all this, and another reason why I think the UFC has fumbled this so badly in a lot of respects, is that there's no buzz for this fight at all. Like there's truly no buzz for this fight. There's no buzz. There's not even like a lot of like outside of the hardcore fan base and everybody in this stream watching and us talking about it. Outside of the ones who buy them all, it doesn't seem like anybody's really popping for this one. And so is it because it's heavyweight and it's so bad right now? I don't really know what it is. It's because we haven't seen Tom fight since July of last year. And it's been 455 days since we've seen this dude fight.
I know what it is.
What is it?
It's that these are 2 title fights that the UFC didn't want. And when the UFC doesn't want it, that reads to the fans, right? Like this is, we talked about this months and months before this fight was a glimmer in anybody's eye. We talked about it. Like the UFC fucked it up. I'm sorry, excuse my language. They botched it all because they didn't promote the real guy. They didn't promote the actual heavyweight champion. They promoted, arguably the greatest fighter of all time who was clearly not attempting to fight him. And they promoted that fight as if it was going to happen when I think a lot of people, certainly us, this fight's never going to happen. And so when you invest in promoting a fight and it doesn't happen, there's not a good fallback. It was never promoted as if Tom, if John retires, we've still got time. It was John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Okay. Well, we didn't get that. So now you want us to like the leftovers? No. And we were never going to like this first fight. And especially in the circumstances of it's a guy who, frankly, the fight most people remember from Ciryl Gane is getting run over by John. So it's not even like a palatable, sellable thing. They had no other option to make this go down smooth. There is no spoonful of sugar here. The medicine just has to go down as this is the fight that we've done. And so that's the headliner. And then it doesn't have support that's good, right? Like if it was a Max Holloway BMF support fight, people would be more pumped. But like, You got UFC employees out here trashing the co-main event. And as much as I respect the co-main event, I'm not here to sell you a bill of goods and to lie and say, this is the strawweight title fight the world was looking for. No, both of these fights are quality matchups and meaningful bouts that are undeniably, the backup schools of fights. This is not, my reach school was getting into Stanford, and if I didn't get into Stanford, I was going to it'd be fine. I'll go to Vandy, and oh crap, now I'm going to the community college at home. These are the community college matchups because they couldn't do better for us. And that's just how the ball broke here.
There is no website in sports who does analogies and comparisons like we do.
That
was outstanding.
That was me just kind of feeling my way through it. And I was like, I nailed it. I got it. This is in fact exactly your backup school. This is the backup school fights. 2 backup school fights. You're going to have a good time. Like in the end, once you're there, you're going to have a good time. You're going to get an education. It's going to be fun and meaningful, but these aren't the ones you wanted. And so it doesn't feel as good to be like, ooh, where are you going to college?
Yeah.
I'm going to Atlanta Tech. No, like that's not what you wanted. You wanted to go to, Harvard. And that's where you can get Harvard.
Yeah. And look, maybe you meet a lifelong friend or two. Maybe you meet your wife there. So
you're going to have fun.
Can still come out of it.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be good for you and your development for the growth of the weight class. It's just not the one you wanted. And that stings a little bit.
Well, I mean,
you're right, Eric. Nothing is wrong with Atlanta Tech. I'm not here to say that. That was just the first sort of school that came to my mind. It's like nobody was probably picking Atlanta Tech as their reach school in applications.
Yeah. But those who went proud.
Had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we have a good time watching this main event, and there's a lot of pressure on both sides. We mentioned what's at stake for Tom Aspinall, but it's more so in like he was a fluke and he wasn't that good. John would have killed him type thing. And then there's Ciryl Gane, who this is it. Like most people feel like he shouldn't be in this fight to begin with after the Volkov fight, but here he is getting his 3rd opportunity at the undisputed title. This is his last chance for sure. So currently, Jed, according to our friends at FanDuel, even though the heavyweight division's really dumpy, I just don't see a world where you can throw Ciryl in for a 4th time.
I've walked back. That was originally my thought. He's only 35 at heavyweight. That's
how many title fights are we going to put this guy in, though?
I mean, I agree. It'll take a while to get back, but if he wins 5 in a row, which look at heavyweight, he could win 5 in a row,
But if he loses to Tom, it's not like he's going to lose a splitty. He's going to get run F over in 90 seconds.
I'm just saying I wouldn't bet my fingers on it. I wouldn't do a pinky bet that he would never fight again if he loses this fight. I think it's certainly more likely than not that he doesn't, but I'm not betting anything I'm not willing to lose that he doesn't, because heavyweight is bad and he is relatively young for the weight class.
Well, if you're a fan of heavyweight, or even if you just have a good time watching heavyweight, whether it's for the technique or just the thrill of going over 2.5 rounds, boy, we got a lot of heavyweight fights on this card, but it'll close out in this division with the title on the line. FanDuel has Tom
3 heavies and a light heavy.
And a light heavy. And a couple of catchweight bouts too, which we'll get to in a second. Tom Aspinall, big favorite, -400. Some money coming in on Tommy Aspinall. The comeback on Ciryl Gane, +300. Jed, I know you have climb bets galore here. You've weighed some pros and cons. You had some reflection time last night to think more about this fight and this card in general. How does this all go down? What is the official Jed Meshew prediction for the main event tomorrow?
Man, I hope I'm right. I'm not, honestly, I'm not a particularly big Tom Aspinall fan. The song is fun, and I do think he's the best heavyweight in the world. And I probably would have picked him against John. But I need him to win just so John doesn't tweet. I just need the worst people on the internet to not have a good day. And if Tom loses, they shouldn't, there's no reason for them to have a good day, but they will take it as a victory. And I think he's going to win. Ciryl Gane has spent a lot of his life saying that he's getting better at wrestling defensively, and he's not. Maybe this is the time. maybe Tom gets overconfident and just comes out and swings haymakers. Like there are ways he can win. Like Gane can win. So the truth is, like Tom is not a defensive mastermind. He just kind of is running over people because he has a lot of confidence that his chin's good enough, and he hits real hard and real fast. And the thing that gives me a lot of hope there is Ciryl Gane is not really a one-hitter quitter in that regard. He's not a dude who's icing people out in the first 60 seconds. Like Sergey could maybe just catch him in that regard, but didn't. So I think Tom Aspinall is just a smart dude, frankly. I think he's going to look at this and be like, maybe he tries to punch with him for a minute, but he's going to pretty quickly take him down. I've said it on multiple shows at this point. I think Tom should be a horrible matchup for him because the straw that stirs the drink for Ciryl is his athleticism. Tom is as athletic, and that means I don't think Ciryl can really stay away from him. So unless Tom tries to shoot takedowns and then just gas himself out in the first 60 seconds, I feel a lot of confidence he's going to get a win. I've got bets on him in like 6 different ways, climbing with him. Tom Aspinall, first round submission win is my official prediction.
Yeah. So this isn't like a flex by any stretch of the imagination, because when I play the pony, so to speak, on these watch parties, it's for entertainment purposes. Like if I lose or if I win, it doesn't change really anything. It's like, could I get 2 cups of coffee a day? Like I could do that. But last year I did pretty well. This year I've done pretty well. So I've profited a little bit. I have other bets on this card. And after placing the bets on the card, whatever I literally have in that bankroll, I am putting on Tom Aspinall tomorrow. So I'm going all in on him. It's not much. It's nowhere near the impact of the Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso bet that you placed. But one thing I will disagree with your breakdown on is Tom being as athletic as Ciryl Gane. No, he's more athletic than Ciryl Gane.
Sure.
Yeah, he just is. A lot of people that I respect have seen both of those guys in the gym, have worked with both of those guys, and are just like, they cannot believe that Tom Aspinall is a human being, that he moves the way that he does. And one of the interesting things
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd rate him as like even in the top 5 of athletic heavyweights. Do you think he's like currently? Yes. I mean, all time. I mean, he's certainly athletic.
Yeah. But what's weird about it is like, and this is sort of the thing that everyone keeps coming back to. I've seen it, but you haven't. That's like what all these guys are saying, because he fights for 60 seconds. So we don't get to see him be super duper athletic because he just mows people down. And the one thing I will absolutely agree with you on is, especially, there's no way Tom's not feeling a little extra pressure with this, with all the stuff that he's gone through. Luckily, his dad is a very smart man, knows how to communicate with him. He's trying to keep his kid calm. And I'm sure the message has been clear the entire time. Run him over immediately. Go in there, touch gloves, take a step back, put him on his ass, tackle him, and just beat him up until the fight is over. And I think that's exactly what we're going to get. And I want to be super clear when I say this. I make this pick not because I think Ciryl Gane is bad. I make this pick with this confidence is because I think Tom Aspinall is that good. I think he is that damn good. So this is not a condemnation on Ciryl Gane and his skills, because he's very good. In any other era, Ciryl Gane is the heavyweight champion of the world. It's just not today. It's just not going to be tomorrow. He's fighting just a freak. And this is a dude who gets to tell his grandkids someday that I fought Francis Ngannou, John Jones, and Tom Aspinall. I fought all 3 of those guys.
He's the only person who will get to say that.
Right? So I think Tom Aspinall gets him out. I'll say TKO round 1. Some significant ground and pound. He's not going to waste any time here. He's going to put him on his ass. If Ciryl can't defend the early takedowns,
man, I need him to not get a ground and pound. I have a plus 700 bet for Tom via sub round 1. I'd really like to cash that. So
yeah, the betting lines have been kind of all over the place, because I saw Aspinall as like minus 450 earlier this week. And then I looked the other day and it was minus 375. So I grabbed it at minus 375. And then I took a couple prop sprinkles. Aspinall round 1 at plus 165. Aspinall round 2 at plus 400.
Our friends at FanDuel currently having minus 400, Gone at plus 3.
Yep.
So
yeah, we'll see. If Ciryl wins, like, I will put that man over like crazy. And I will put my hand up, the accountability hand in the sky, and be like, boy, I was wrong. But
it'll be an awesome win for him if he pulls it
it'll
off.
be unbelievable if he wins this fight.
It'll probably butcher heavyweight, but it'll be really cool. I'll tell you what might suck when Tom wins. Man, nobody talks about it because the John fight is the thing people talk about. I'd really love to see Tom Aspinall fight Francis Ngannou. I'd just love to see that. I don't know who the hell wins that fight because I thought Francis was going to reign. Like when Francis took the belt, again, that performance against Stipe, I was like, yeah, he's the final form. He's the most devastating, brutal person alive. And he's learned how to not get out over his skis. Nobody has a chance against him. And then he beat Ciryl Gane in a fight where he was heavily compromised, which is a great way, solid win. And then he left and he did other things. And I think he made the right call 100%. But it would have been nice to see Francis try to put together a reign. I think he could have done it and it could have been a really good one. And I would have loved to see Tom Aspinall fight Francis Ngannou. And we'll never get that. And we'll never get Tom versus John. We're just going to get Tom fighting Derek Lewis and, good enough guys. Walter Walker maybe. But it's kind of a bummer. They're good things could have happened at heavyweight. And I don't blame the UFC for John. They didn't handle it great, but by all accounts, they met John's price. And John was like, oh, I thought you weren't going to meet my price. Never mind. I'm going to retire. Yeah. So they tried. And I do blame them for Francis because Francis could still be there. We could have had this happen. Alas.
Yeah. I'm so surprised how badly they botched not just Francis down the stretch, but literally his entire run outside of promoting him for the Stipe fight, where they were like, this unstoppable monster is going to beat this firefighter. And then the firefighter won. And Stipe beat him convincingly.
They didn't manage him well.
Yeah. He was the easiest guy to turn into a star. All you have to do is just you don't need to do anything. Just post pictures of him on social media. He's a star.
Yeah. I think, and this is hindsight, and there's been some reporting to suggest this. I don't think they ever liked Francis because I think Francis knew his value, and the UFC does not like people who know their value. And so that was sort of the undercurrent to all of it. And so it feels, certainly in hindsight, it feels that their split was inevitable. But that's a shame because Francis Ngannou could have been the best heavyweight of all time. We'll never know, frankly. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the main event. Co-main event. We talked about it a lot during BTL yesterday. Mackenzie Dern finally could become a world champion, Jen Meshew. She finally could walk away with UFC gold. She takes on Virna Jandiroba, who gets her first title shot as well. And she's probably deserved this shot for a very long time. In fact, I think she should have got the shot over Tatiana Suarez to begin with, and that didn't happen. But alas, Zhang Weili moves up. Virna was going to get the title shot anyways. Instead of fighting Zhang and probably losing that fight really one-sidedly, now she gets an opportunity to not only, 1, become champion, 2, do it against somebody that's not Zhang Weili, and 3, against somebody who already holds a win over her. This is when you really break down the X's and O's of this fight, Jed, it is kind of interesting. I know it's not Zhang, and I know there's going to be sort of that thing hanging over this fight of, well, Zhang is still the best strawweight in the world. She just happened to leave the division. I think stylistically, I'm intrigued because I have no clue what this fight's going to look like.
Really? I feel like I have an idea what this fight's going to look like. I might not know exactly, but I think this fight's not going to look that dissimilar from their first fight, just a little bit longer, maybe a little bit better. I think Virna, you mentioned yesterday, I think Virna will have learned some lessons. She's just gotten better, certainly. But I think she can feel comfortable taking Dern down and probably not getting subbed off, from top position. She's obviously an exceptional grappler in her own right. And so that was going to be a lot of her process is I want to get takedowns. I want to control grappling as long as I can. I think Dern is going to try and bring her physicality to bear against Jandiroba. I think she is going to do the better in the striking exchanges. strictly by willingness, not because she's good at it, but like she is much more willing and physical striker. I think this fight's probably going to be competitive and close. And fun. Frankly, I think this fight's going to be a little more fun than people are giving it credit for.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know, because I hope because the first fight is actually kind of fun, especially that third round.
It was.
Yeah, it was like that third round was just two sort of exhausted fighters just willing it to go. And watching that third round tells you everything you need to know about the improvements of these two fighters. Because all Mackenzie Dern did was throw a jab at a right hand. Like you could actually hear
she
Pearl
just
in the
threw
corner.
Him willingly. She just threw him with a lot of
do basic striking. Just do it as hard as you can. Jab, right hand, step back, jab, right hand, over and over and over again for 5 minutes. So that was very fun. I don't think it's going to look like that here. The way I kind of see this fight, unfortunately, Jed, is I think Virna is going to win. I do have a bet on her. I like her at dog money here. I think this is going to look like a fight that you're not going to enjoy at all. This is going to be sort of Merab on the come up kind of performance with a lot of control time, little punches, Virna just kind of exhausting her. I think that's kind of what this is going to look like.
I can't get off the train. I've been on this island forever. I live here. Me and Shaheen Al-Shadi just cast away.
Did you talk to him yet?
No, I meant to yesterday and I just never did. I'll text him at some point and be like, it's almost time, buddy. I did just tweet him. So, he knows. We all know. We both know. We see each other on Dern Island. They're the only two inhabitants. It's getting a little more popular now. But for a while it was just, oh, hey, Sean, how you doing? Good. All right. This is the silliest, stupidest way to break a fight down. Dern is jacked, man.
She is ripped.
Just enormous. And just like Virna's probably, like, all things considered, is probably a better fighter than Mackenzie Dern. I do not believe she is as dangerous a fighter as Mackenzie Dern in basically any of the phases. And Mackenzie Dern is just a much better athlete. And that's enough for me to be like, yeah, it's Mackenzie Dern, man. She can always find a way to lose, but I can't quit her. It's probably going to be the most Mackenzie Dern performance. She's probably going to lose like a 48-47 decision, where in one of the rounds she has Dern's back for 4 minutes and 52 seconds of the round. And you're just like, yeah, see, look when she's cooking, ooh, buddy. And then the rest of the fight she'll just lose. But I'm picking Mackenzie Dern. I think she's gonna, again, I think this fight's going to be competitive. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be 3-2 one way or the other. I'm not picking Dern to get a finish, but I think in that first fight, and it was a long time ago, I understand all of that. When that fight was all square, Mackenzie Dern by trying. She won by trying, and she can do that. And I don't know that Virna has the ability to just like punch Dern in the face because she wants to try to do that. And if somehow Mackenzie Dern learned how to stuff a takedown at all, I just straight up think Virna's in huge trouble.
That I do agree with.
If Virna shoots and Dern like hits a down block and pivots out, Virna is screwed. So I don't think that's going to happen because there's literally no precedent to that being part of Mackenzie Dern's game. But if like her team was just like, what if we just taught you how to defend the takedown for a little bit, she'll win this handily. So I'm picking Mackenzie Dern.
What if Mackenzie Dern comes in, defends a takedown, and then like does a beautiful transition into like a all-American wrestler single into a double?
She's never losing the belt.
Beautiful takedown. Yeah.
We want Wei Li. If she does that, we want Wei Li is what we want.
That's be incredible.
Like if she learns to wrestle at all, she would be so good. And like, that's why I can't not pick her, because if she could just stuff some takedowns, she's gonna win the fight. If she ever gets on top, she's gonna win the fight. Like Virna has to like, not a perfect game because there's so much latitude for what she can succeed with, but like Virna can't make like mistakes because Dern is so much more dangerous in those areas, like in the fight. If I thought Virna Jandiroba had any realistic chance to like finish Mackenzie Dern, totally different story, right? Like this is, again, I said yesterday I would pick Joanna and Jacek off the couch to wail on Mackenzie Dern, but that's just, Virna's just not, she's not a hitter on the feet. Like she's not going to tap her. She's going to win by grinding out this fight positionally, and that's very doable. But it only takes a couple, one slip on a banana peel and Dern's on top, and she's on top for the rest of the round. That's one round down,
Dog wants to go back inside. All right,
Shiloh.
Yeah, Shiloh will be wide awake for the watch party tomorrow, so you'll probably see a lot of the dog on the show. Rest of the main card, we got, of course, Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. We talked a lot about that, but if you guys have questions about that, we'll talk more about it. Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Volkov. Big fight. You assume the winner of that fight's going to fight the winner of the main event. And then seems
likely.
Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov, which, by the way, Jed, I got to tell you, when this fight was first announced, I was like, oh, I see what the UFC's trying to do here. They're just going to feed poor Alexander Rakic to the throne of Azamat Murzakanov. And then I actually went back and like watched the last like 5 Rakic fights. And I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, he lost to Ankalaev, but like he didn't get the doors blown off him. And yes, he got finished by Yuri Prohashka, but like he looked good early in that fight, but he fought a dude who doesn't feel pain of any kind, because Rakic was tuning him up. He was lighting the legs on fire, but Yuri feels no pain. So I'm like, well, I mean, this, if you look at like the last bunch of opponents Rakic has fought, this is a step back. Like this is a significant step back for him. So I think Murzakanov is probably going to win, but my thoughts of, okay, Murzakanov is just going to run this man over in 30 seconds or like in the first round, I have lost those thoughts. I feel like this fight is pretty competitive, and I wish Rakic had some plus money next to his name. I got to be honest with you.
I think this fight is perfect matchmaking. I agree. Murzakan's not going to run him over. We talked about this fight kind of a lot on No Bets Barred this week because I think it's really, really interesting for a lot of reasons. And it's because it's the fight that I have like the least idea of what's going to happen. I know one way or the other what it will look like, but I have no confidence in which of those two paths we're going down, because as you expertly, you noted, Rakic has been competitive. He's lost 3 in a row. They've all been against champions, right? Jan, Yuri, Ankalaev. He's very competitive in those losses. Still, he didn't win. Like he lost. He was a competitive loss is a loss. That's an L. And so how much do you take from that? If you look at his resume, not even correct. It is correct to state that his last 6 opponents have been champions or fought for the belt. It is also, though, light heavyweight. And so the other 3 of those opponents, his good wins are Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, and Volkan Ozdemir. Or I'm sorry, he lost Ozdemir, actually. Arguably, he won the splitty. But like his good wins are Thiago Santos and Anthony Smith, who, if you've listened to this program at all, I don't think the highest of as far as their light heavyweight resumes go. So it's tough. Like he's never really beaten anybody good, right? And he's looked competitive in losing to good fighters. This is really just hard to have a bead on like where he fits in the light heavyweight sort of ether, because he's obviously got some skill, some talent. The Jan fight, he was competitive in until he got injured, right? And sure, yes, he technically was beating Yuri until he wasn't. That's literally the story of everybody who's ever fought Yuri other than Alex Pereira. They were beating him until they weren't. Alex just finished the drill. So it's hard to have a great read on Rakic, who I think is talented and very good. And it would not at all surprise me if he just sort of like moved around and kicked Murzakanov in the legs a bunch and didn't get hit by a big right hand and he sort of wins, not the most thrilling fight, but he gets a good quality win over a guy who's solid but not amazing, because I don't think Mirzakhanov's amazing either. He's just on a good run, and it's not bad. So I love the matchmaking, and I don't know what to anticipate on which of these two outcomes come forward. And so I love that I'm going to learn from this fight. I'm going to learn more about where Alexander Rakic fits in the light heavyweight picture, and where Azamat Mirzakhanov, is he like a real title challenger, or is he sort of a goosed up contender series guy in a bad weight class? I get to find that out on Saturday, and so I'm very interested in this matchup.
Well said. I think it's a great opener to the main card as well. It's going to be fun either way. We can't say that a lot about light heavyweight fights, so I actually think this one's going to be a pretty fun fight. We did have
not usually in boring ones.
That's very true. We did have a couple of hiccups on the scale this morning. Jose Miguel Delgado,
nobody who mattered
by a pound against Nathaniel Wood, 20% of the purse, and Azam Maxim missed weight by 3 pounds. Azat Maxim, excuse me, for his fight against Mitch Raposo. And I did listen to No Bets Bar, Jed, and you were talking about Mitch Raposo, and you were saying, you want to know what Mitch Raposo has never done? Won a fight in a cage.
He's literally never won a fight in a cage with 8 sides.
Yes.
He's never done it. He's tried 4 times. He's failed all 4. He's failed on Contender Series. He's failed in the Tough House. He has failed in the octagon, the UFC's octagon. Can't win a fight. If there are 8 sides, count him out. Got no chance.
And you know what he's about to do more so than he has done? Fight a dude who
is a fat dude.
Yeah. This is the 3rd time in those 5 appearances in 8-sided cages where he will fight a man who missed weight. Contender Series, Jake Hadley missed weight. First fight in the UFC, took the fight on less than a week's notice against Andre Lima.
Did Sumaderji miss weight?
No, Sue did not miss weight. Okay, Andre Lima missed weight. Andre Lima was preparing for a full
I know Andre Lima missed weight.
Yeah.
I'm aware that Andre missed weight by a good amount.
Yeah. Mitch Raposo took the fight on less than a week's notice and made weight, and then fights another dude who is on a 2-fight losing streak, who's actually pretty decent, who lost to Tagir Ulanbekov at a pretty fun fight in his last fight, and Maxim misses weight by 3 pounds. This, to me, is something that drives me crazy, because this dude needs to get a dub. And he's not making 6 figures a fight. He's probably on a low level 12-12, maybe a step higher than that contract. So if he loses 30% of his show money, who gives a shit? As long as he goes out and beats Mitch Raposo. So why cut those extra 3 pounds? It's friggin' crazy. So now Mitch has to fight another dude who missed weight. And Mitch is a pretty talented dude. He's probably not going to win this fight. And it's just kind of a bummer.
But he's not going to win the fight. There are 8 sides to the cage. He needs to take the door off. When he enters the cage, kick the door off the hinges, and maybe he's got a chance. There are 8 sides. He can't do it. He's octagonophobic. I don't know. But it is wild to have never won a fight in all of the ways you can lose a fight in a UFC octagon. He has to be the only person who has that, because not that many people have done Contender Series and Tough. There's only been like 3 or 4 of them. And to lose 2 UFC bouts too is just like, bro, you got to get this monkey off your back at some point.
Yes, lost.
Who was that dude who kept losing, but then he'd go back to Cage Warriors and be the champion, and then he would get in the UFC and would keep losing? Mitch Raposo is like the worst version of that.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, Mitch has been a guy, especially the New England MMA fans have had their eye on since he was like a senior
fighter.
Yeah, he's solid. He's solid. I would like to see him, stop boxing everybody and just tackle people. Like, he's very good at tackling.
Maybe don't tackle Azat. I don't think that would go well.
I think him doing the tackling would be okay. But him boxing and then getting tackled would not be good.
It won't be helpful.
It would not be good. So that happened. Everybody else made weight. We're all a go. What did Chris Barnett came in at 261 for his fight with Hamdi Abdelwahab. 265. How much did you hammer the over on that fight?
Oh, I ended up only putting 1 regular unit on it. I strongly considered climbing with it. And then I looked, I was like, Chris Barnett really doesn't go over 1.5. Like, really doesn't. Hamdi really does. So it's the stoppable object versus the immovable one, or however the hell that phrase goes. Yeah, I think this fight's going to be so heavyweighty. It's going to be so heavy and so weighty.
It's going to be super heavyweighty. Hamdi is the man that the overs are made for.
And then in 6 months it's going to get overturned to no contest because Hamdi's going to pop again.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I can't believe he has a job. I cannot believe he popped, took a 6 month sussy, popped again, just took a 2-year, and the UFC is like, that's fine, we'll wait. Like, you could have just cut this man. You didn't need to keep him. He popped twice.
Yeah. Unbelievable. All right, let's go to the peeps. We do have a couple of super chats, and if you want to make
Buddy,
sure
I don't know if you meant to do this or not. You're aware we didn't talk about the feature fight, right?
No, we're going to talk. I'm sure we're going to get questions about it.
Okay, I was just saying we went from co-main to the Azamat Mirzakhanov fight. I didn't know if this was intentional or not.
We spent 40 minutes on it at BTL yesterday, so
we did talk a fair amount about it.
We have talked about that fight more than any other fight on this card. So I figure if the peeps want to talk about it some more, they have a burning question because we already know what's at stake here. Like we've hit every angle on this fight 100 times. So
it's true.
All right, let's go to the peeps. Lazy Bed, thank you. Shout out to Jose Youngs for crushing Bon on prop quiz. Like that, like as if there was ever a doubt. Come on now. First of all, Jose Youngs ain't losing to nobody on that show. He is going to be, what's that dude's? He's going to be the Ken Jennings of friggin' prop quiz. He's going to win like 100 games in a row, and then they're going to boot him after he takes like all of Slito's money.
It really is a game built for his strengths.
Yeah, he's got an elephant's brain with that stuff. It's crazy. Speaking of Slito, in the past 6 Abu Dhabi cards, fighters with names ending in OV are 28-3 against fighters without OV names.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Any OV fighter that goes the distance.
I want to know which 3 lost.
It's a great question.
I'd have to look at which.
Slito, who lost? I know you. I know you probably
pull up like the most recent Abu Dhabi cards and see because this is not something I excel at.
Saeed Nurmagomedov, maybe. That's just like the first one that popped in my head.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it would be somebody terrible like that. Somebody who's not actually good.
Wait, was Islam Aliskerov?
Oh, Nikita Krylov lost to Bogdan Guskov, but an OV guy did win that fight, so I don't know if that counts.
Was Whitaker Aliskerov at Abu Dhabi or Saudi?
That was Saudi.
Shit.
I'm like 95% sure that was Saudi. Saeed Nurmagomedov lost to Bryce Mitchell at the Abu Dhabi card in July. So we had 2 in July. Krylov and Nurmagomedov both lost in July. But again, Krylov lost to a Guskov, so losing to an Ov feels like that's a no-win situation, definitionally. Tapuria Holloway was also, I don't remember this being in Abu Dhabi. I don't remember this shit at all.
Jed, we were in this room, our first watch party.
I know. I just don't remember where these things are. I'm terrible at this.
A year ago. That's when Hamzat Chimaev beat Whitaker. What a card that was.
All of my brain points got put into idiotic takes and like the most tangential connections between stuff, not in remembering where fight events happened.
Fair. She loves the gloves. Mike Jed, what do you make of Tom's dad saying he doesn't want Tom to re-sign with the UFC and switch to boxing instead? The brass can't be happy with that. I will say, from like a UFC public relations standpoint, it's been a pretty shitty week for Tom Aspinall in that regard, with the whole DC leak and then his dad being caught saying like, I don't want Tom to stay with the UFC. I want him to go professionally box instead. So not a great week in that regard, but you go out win, who gives a shit? But yeah, what do you think of Tom's dad saying like, yeah, if I had my druthers, he's boxing after this last 3 fights?
I think Tom's dad is correct. I mean, it depends. Actually, he might not be correct. I understand it. Because one, he's just saying stuff. That's a negotiating position is what that is. Hey, you guys need to pay to keep him here. I think it's totally reasonable to do that. If he's actually being honest about it, like Tom can't succeed at heavyweight boxing. We don't have to pretend we can't be done, and that's okay. They're not the same sports. And so like it would just be a Francis Ngannou-esque 1 or 2 paydays, really big paydays, But I think Francis at the time, that made a lot more sense. He was much older and very close to the end of his title. Even if he had a title reign, it probably wasn't going to be years on years. So you take the biggest paydays right now. Tom, again, he could maybe get one or two, but it's not. And I mean, he's just saying the quiet part out loud, which is, yeah, one of these sports pays a lot better than the other does when they get to the top of the mountain. My son's at the top of the mountain, and Tom Aspinall's not making $10 million this weekend. He's not. So, like, yeah, why? That's the floor of what he'd make in a super big boxing match. Like, this doesn't take a rocket scientist to be like, one of those is better for me than the other. Now, enough MMA fights is better than the 2 boxing matches you can get. And I think that's probably would be a bit premature. And that Tom might, especially because, like, once Tom beats like 2 more dudes, there's nobody to fight. He's just going to keep running back rematches. So, like, it probably is premature, but I get it. I understand it, because also, I mean, I think they've talked about this. Like, they don't envision Tom Aspinall fighting for 10 years. Or like they are of the opinion that you get in, get paid, get out, right? Like, with as much of your faculties around you as possible, which is the appropriate way to approach this sport in general. And so in my head, like, you'd have to ask him to clarify. My guess is his thought isn't, we're going to try and transition to boxing forever. It's, hey, we're going to get a couple title defenses, build the legacy in MMA, go get a couple boxing, and then be done and retire and move on to the next thing, which is, I say this all the time. I think every fighter should retire, because you are probably going to make more money doing something else and not jeopardize your health. Tom Aspinall, if he gets 3 he fights these 3, gets 3 title defenses, he could build a legacy that can never be surpassed functionally, as just like racking up heavyweight title defenses. Okay. I won't begrudge him at all if he looks at this and says, I've done enough. I have enough. Let me get 1 or 2 big paydays in boxing and move on with my life. That's an adult, responsible way to approach your career.
Yep. I think we're going to see more of that. Like, I don't think we're going to be like Khabib retired in the midst of his athletic prime for, great reasons. I don't think Islam's going to be around much longer.
No chance. He's got 2 fights max.
I don't think Ilia Topuria is going to be along much longer, because he truly doesn't need to fight.
I'll give him 5 fights.
I'll say probably less than that. Not much, but 5 is the most we'll see out of him. And then, like, all these generational talents are just, if they become if they truly are generational talents, that means they can cross over. And once they cross over, like, they could be done with fighting. Like, this is a means to an end. This is more of a business than the glory of winning a UFC title, because this generation of fighter now knows that that title is, while cool, it doesn't have the same meaning as it did in 2009.
There's a simple solution to this. Pay them. And the UFC's never going to do it, because that's against their business model. But, like, Tyson Fury has done enough, is enough. There's certainly part of Tyson Fury's continuing to come back to the sport that is because he loves boxing, and this is where he is famous. And that is a huge draw. I'm not diminishing that as a draw, that people like the limelight, and it is hard to get away from that. And most likely when Tom retires, he will be leaving that part of the sport behind, that part of fame behind. That is absolutely part of the calculus for Tyson Fury. But the other calculus is he's sitting at home and he can make $100 million to box again. Anyone alive would say, yeah, I can make $50 million to fight some dude. Maybe I win, maybe I lose, but it's $50 million. Every single fight Tyson Fury has is another generation of his family that isn't in poverty. At least it's probably like realistically, it's like 2 or 3 generations of his family, his great grandkids that just aren't in poverty because he fought one more time. That's not the case for Tom. Every fight Tom has is, okay, my kids are better off. My kids don't have to work. But he's not making $10 million a fight, because that's not how the UFC does business. Everything always comes back to money. If the UFC wants Tom Aspinall to stick around, they should pay him. They're not going to, and we're probably going to lose him sooner than we should.
It's a tale as long as time has been around. Love this. Chris Barnett, Brandon Royval, both 5'9", my favorite stat of the week.
Yeah, I saw that one out. It was really funny. I saw the other one is the tallest active fighter is Volkov. The shortest is Henry Cejudo. And Cejudo's like 5'5", so he's like not much shorter than Chris Barnett.
God, if Chris Barnett wins, if somehow he could go on a title run, it would just be one of the greatest things we've ever seen in the heavyweight division. This heavyweight division needs Chris Barnett to go on a run. I don't think he's going to win. I think he's going to get tackled and laid on for 15 minutes, but I cannot go through another Chris Barnett fight like we did last year. Because last year he fought in Abu Dhabi, he fought Kenny Nunchucks, and he looked like a dude who should not have been fighting at all. I
wish Kennedy Nzechukwu would be good, because I created Kenny Nunchucks. It's a great name, and nobody cares because he's not meaningful. He doesn't matter. I need him to matter so I can get credit for that one, because I love it. I love calling him Kenny Nunchucks.
All right. I promised to do an Umar question, even though we talked about this a lot already.
I think that's reasonable.
Umar got Dana to think that a title shot could be on the line. Does Umar get a title shot with a win? I say absolutely, unequivocally no, unless, I mean, this has to, if Umar puts a finish that they will use on the Bubba O'Reilly Open at arenas between the prelims and the main card, sure, that'll do it. Anything below that, no, he should not get a title shot.
I don't think you should get a title shot if anything happens. I don't think there is.
I'm with, yeah.
Any, and again, pretty big Umar supporter. There's just, there's nothing he could do that I'd be like, that guy needs to fight for the belt again. Because I saw him fight Merab. It was in January. He did not win. He was the closest anyone's come to winning. He did not win. And so I don't think he should get it. No matter what he does tomorrow, shouldn't get a title fight. If he does something spectacular and Pantoja loses, I think he's got a pretty good chance of getting one. It needs to be a finish. He can't win a decision. If he finishes him, the UFC wants to push Umar. They support him. There is nobody else, right? Like, Pants is the other guy that would make sense for Merab's next title defense if Pants can get past Van. But outside of that, there ain't a line of dudes. It's all people he's beat before. And so, like, unless you're just going to say, I guess, Amin Zahabi, come on down for a fight that not a soul will ever care about. I think he's got a real shot at it, but I would not say he's the favorite to get a title shot next. And he should not be 100% should not be.
Well, I mean, I think a lot is going to have to fall in his favor, because it appears, and I maybe they're going to save it for Paramount, I'm not sure, but it appears like all signs are pointing towards Song Yadong versus Sean O'Malley.
I've heard a lot about that one.
So,
but if Sean wins, they're not going to run him back again. So, like, no, Song wants to win.
But if Song wins, he's next, no matter what Umar does.
I mean, tomorrow. Yeah, if Song wins, he's definitely next. And I mean, like, theoretically, I know Merab called out Figgy. Figgy's number 6, and he did just win a fight. Like, they could put Figgy in there, but
oh boy,
I don't know.
Yeah, he got thumped up.
There's nothing palatable.
It was.
There's nothing palatable about any of Merab's next opponents other than either Bautista if he wins, Song if he beats Sean, or Pants if he beats Van. Those are the only ones that people have any like okay about, which is why Umar's not dead in the water, but I think it's unlikely.
I wish we could put Merab, like, just freeze him for 2 years and then bring him out when, like, when David Martinez is, like, in his prime, when Loke Dog, like, wins his next 3 fights. Like, a Loke Dog Merab fight.
I want Merab to rack him up. Right? Be the GOAT. Establish yourself as the GOAT and jump into the GOAT conversation.
Peyton Talbot, maybe Ricky Simone goes on a run and we could run that one back. I mean, there's lots of, maybe Charles Jourdain, who knows? Like, we're just,
I know. No,
no,
I know. No, you've already made me deal with Amin Zahabi being a top 7 fighter. I ain't suffering Charles Jourdain,
but he's more fun though, right?
He's more fun. Honest to God, he's probably a better fighter than Amin Zahabi.
Wow.
I don't care. I'm standing 10 toes on this. This is a credit to him that he continues to win fights, despite I don't tell me what he does well. What's he do? Like what's his thing? He's just okay at
He knows
everything.
how to
And
win rounds, man.
he's okay at everything, and he doesn't give up. And that you can go look. Forrest Griffin won the light heavyweight title with that exact thing. You know, he is just he is Forrest Griffin. But Forrest wasn't good either, and I'll never pretend he was.
Big week for professionalism for the UFC. DC gets leaked, crapping on the heavyweight division. I don't blame the UFC for that one. That's all on Team Aspinall.
Not remotely the UFC's fault, not really DC's fault either. Yeah, like Aspinall, somebody in Aspinall's team got a talking to.
I hope they did.
I would hope so. And because like this is really bad form. It's really bad form to do that.
Yeah. DC is probably livid, and I'd be wicked pissed if I was him. But we'll see how it happened. Reporters asking Dern about squats, et cetera, et cetera. Terrible. It's just, oh God, this has been a brutal week for the media in a sense outside of our guy, Jose Youngs, who
it's been pretty tough.
It's been tough. The squats question was insane. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, if you're going to ask Mackenzie, like, it seems like the UFC is promoting you, not just because you're a great fighter, but you're easy on the eyes. And I was like, oh, I kind of like where this is going. He's be like, what do you think of embedded? Like using the thumbnail and like pushing you in that way. And then it turned into, how much do you squat?
Dude,
like, what, dude? What is wrong with you?
I can't remember. I'm trying to see. I gotta look this up, see if it was the official UFC photo of the like face off. It is it's a choice. The cameraman made a positional decision for where he took this photo. Yeah, just not.
Yeah. But again,
it is what it is.
Yeah, but that you can kind of blame the UFC for, because they have obviously.
I can blame the UFC for the thumbnail they used on Embedded 1 that they then changed.
They did. They changed it. Yeah. But also the quality of I guess you can blame this is the UFC's business and they can let in whoever they want. But at the same token, like what they view as reporting.
Yeah, that person should never get credit again.
Right. But he will. He will. Because he probably is like a positive reporter for the UFC. He's probably a local. I don't know if he's a local guy or not. But yeah, man, that is brutal. Just absolutely brutal. I think his dad was more pissed his son was away for 455 days than it was by choice. Maybe.
I mean, it was like a little by choice. Tom Aspinall could have forced them to make him fight somebody.
Yeah.
He didn't. He wanted to wait for John, which, was silly and stupid. I get it. But yeah, I don't think his dad loved the situation. I doubt his dad's mad about it. About now. I think his dad was mad about the whole process of it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pissed. Mike and Jed, will you still be live streaming when you're 76 and watching MMA in your slippers while drinking coffee, complaining how it's not like it was back in the day? God, if that's true, I'll be a miserable person. If I'm still working, if I'm working at 76 and it's not just like a fun thing for me,
I might.
I'm having fun. I'm not saying I'm not, but like at 76, like I wanted to like play golf like literally 24 hours a day at 76. Like I want to ride in a golf cart and just do what I want to do what my parents are doing right now. They're just down in Florida, like living their best life. They're traveling like literally all the time. Even if it's just like, oh, we're going on this trip. Do you guys want to go? You probably can't. They're just like, oh, wait, yeah, we're just going to go because it's not like we have anything else to do. Like, I want to be in that realm when I'm 76. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's a million years away. It's hard to know. Maybe. I like, live streaming. I like talking with the peoples. I assume I've been watching MMA for how many? Almost 25 years. Not quite, because it was 2025. So like over 20 years, 21 years, 22 years, something like that. So I suspect I will watch MMA until the day I die. It seems if you do something for 20 plus years, I don't feel like I'm just going to stop doing it.
No,
So
I will watch MMA, but will I be like doing shows and be like,
I
well,
hope I'm not working. I might be streaming
that's
for
what I'm saying.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
like
I'm
I
saying.
might be streaming for fun or something like that
Yeah,
because I do like this.
if it's
I
like
love the
true
watch
hobby
parties.
shit, and it's like, oh, Jed, what are you doing? I happen to be like in Atlanta. Let's just sit down and eat oatmeal and watch UFC 735 together.
Also, bold of you to think I'm making it to 76.
That's a great point. I don't know. My family lives like pretty long lives, but yeah, I don't know.
Most of mine do too, but I don't know. The robots are coming, man.
It's a new world. It's absolutely a new world. We already talked about that. With the UFC release Tom to allow for set boxing matches. Whoa, absolutely
it seems unlikely.
Not. Yeah. Yeah. Francis Ngannou has a better chance of coming back to the UFC. But who knows? If Francis comes back to the UFC, then I will say anything is possible at this point. Jed, this is right up your alley. Why does Volkov look like Conan the Barbarian? Are we going to see him walk to the octagon with the sword, He-Man style? He looks like a new man. No, he should not walk to the octagon with the sword. As I put in our Slack channel, he should be riding a friggin' stallion to the octagon tomorrow. Jed, talk about the flow of Alexander Volkov, because I know that has caught your attention this week.
Dude, he's put me in such a bind because I want to bet him. If you listen to Nova's board, I was so prepared looking at the flow. I was like, that man can't lose. And then I just looked at the fight. I was like, he can't win. It's just like, well, he's never been a great defensive wrestler. He's not a bad one. He's lumbering and slow, and he's fighting a super athletic dude who repeatedly took Curtis Blades down. He's going to get Volkov down. And it's just like, I want to bet him so bad, and I can't. I might, like, I'm trying. What's the number at today? Has it gotten better for me? Where are we at, Volkov? Plus 164. It's gotten worse. He's like, I want him to be plus 200, and then I will feel no shame about it. But like, it's just one of those fights where I want Volkov should be fighting for the belt. I want him to, he has steadily improved his whole career, which I have a great immense amount of respect for, right? Like he's been doing this for a long time, and he's just kind of leveled up along the way, Rafael dos Anjos style. And it would be dope if he just like defended takedowns and, teeped Almeida in the belly a bunch and won this fight. I cannot shake the feeling that they are going to be moving at different speeds. They are going to be in there, and it will not look like they're competing in the same sport. And thus Almeida will win the same way Almeida has won all of his fights functionally. So, but I hope he's powered up because the flow looks great. I love the journey his hair's been on. Nobody noticed it forever. And then suddenly he was between rounds, getting the part going and looking sharp. And now he's just embraced it. He has let the Conan out in himself. And I hope that comes with great. I hope he's powered up like Samson tomorrow and he wins.
It's funny. Like, I have all my bets placed, except like I haven't pulled the trigger on any bet on that fight yet. I can't. I want to do it.
I want to beat him so bad, and he's not. He's getting less value
because people are believing in the flow right now.
The flow is so good. The flow is when I saw it on Embedded. Like I know the Embedded one, like literally the Embedded one thing I watched because someone was like, "Wow, that's crass," and so I was like, "I got to see what this is." And I watched it. I was like, "I know that we're supposed to be talking about this. But my takeaways are: holy shit, Mackenzie Dern is yoked, and." What an incredible flow that Volkov has going.
Hey, listen, what a day it could be if he could beat Jelton Almeida with the flow and maybe get a title shot tomorrow. Lots at stake. We'll close with this because this is like one of the biggest stories on planet Earth yesterday. We touched on it a little bit. Yeah. Give us your thoughts on the NBA betting investigation. Could this impact MMA betting? By the way, this is beyond the NBA. This has hit Major League Baseball a little bit as well.
Oh, has it gone to baseball now? I haven't checked any of the updates on today. So
yeah, I mean, I think even like when the initial reports came out, someone from the Yankees got hit. Let me see, who was it?
Are they involved in the sports betting or the poker game?
Anthony Volpe was somehow involved in all of this. So
You could have made that name up. I'd have no idea.
yeah. Anyways, could this impact MMA betting? This whole situation.
Yes and no. So it's important to note, at least as far as I'm aware, this is two separate issues. One is Terry Rozier and alleged point shaving, bet gambling on NBA games that he was participating in and fixing those games or aspects of those games. The other, again, to my knowledge,
by the way, I think I got
you should get that wrong.
I think I got that troll thing wrong. So excuse me. I was wrong about that. I saw it on Twitter. My bad. I'm so focused on MMA, but yes, continue.
Yeah, I get it. The other one is Chauncey Billups, allegedly part of a fraudulent poker game where they were scamming people out of significant sums of money by cheating at poker. I've also seen some things come out about that more recently, where like apparently people in professional poker knew about that, but they didn't have like a viable recourse to the rigged game. All of this is still allegations, speculation, as far as I'm aware. I think, as pretty obviously, the poker part of this plays no real relevance to MMA. This Chauncey Billups just is an NBA person who was involved in this other criminal enterprise that involved gambling and allegedly the mafia, but is not really relevant to sports betting. The Terry Rozier part is the part that's sports betting related. And yeah, I mean, that can always come to MMA because that's the thing about sports betting. Legalizing, I'm really torn on legalizing sports betting. Obviously, I very much enjoy doing it. But there's a lot of data to suggest that it's super bad, for society. But also, like, I think pretty clearly we probably should have drawn some better lines between it and the sports. Like, they move so hand in hand so quickly of like, oh, this is legal now. Everybody is promoting sports gambling and betting. ESPN has their own betting app or whatever. And it is open. Like, that's the part of sports betting that is tricky, is that it is probably more likely to be tampered with than like a crap game at a casino or whatever. So yeah, this could always happen in MMA. We've had some, tangentially related scandals in the recent, past.
Yeah.
And there have straight up been fixed fights in this sport. None that I know of specifically recently, with one very major caveat to that. And that's not really fixed so much as it was weighted, I suppose. But like, it's as far as sports, if you're going to allow sports, like legalized sports betting, this is going to be more prevalent than if sports betting is illegal. It still can happen even in illegal sports betting, but yeah, it's just going to make it easier to do. And so it can always happen in MMA. I would frankly say I have always thought MMA is more likely to have it happen, frankly, because the thing about the NBA, everybody makes a shitload of money. And so like, you are less likely to engage in general. I'm painting with a broad brush here. Give me the leeway.
For sure.
But if you are making a lot of money, you're less likely to jeopardize that in some sort of fashion like that, because you just have more money. You have more to lose. To like do a point shaving scheme can happen, less likely. There is a case to be made, not a moral case, but purely an economic case to be made, that every fighter coming off Contender Series making bare minimum is incentivized to throw fights and bet on it, because you can make substantially more with a well-placed wager than you can on a 10-10 contract. And so I have always thought that MMA is a sport much more likely to have that sort of tomfoolery going on. And that's bad, because we don't want that to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of a lot of the stuff you see here going on. And I'm like, insider information. I mean, that's kind of thing we dealt with before with the Derek Minner fight. That's the one that kind of changed the way fighters look at betting on fighting or MMA in general.
It's straight up surprising to me that it is not a much more common occurrence for us, or
Yeah.
like even to like speculate that it is, which is great. And I hope the sport stays as, relatively clean as it can be. But like, given the incentive structure, I would guess that it should yeah, people will probably do that a lot more. Every dude who's on like a pink slip derby is heavily incentivized to, place a gamble and see what happens.
All right, I'll throw one more out. Jed and Mike, did you see Usman's comments on why he won't fight Bilal because being the number one does nothing for him? I gotta tell you, Jed,
He's incorrect.
He's 100% incorrect because that is sure, I understand why he's waiting, right? If Islam, I'm telling you, if Islam wins, he's gonna call for
Sure.
Usman. They're managed by the same guy. I'm sure this has already been worked out. Like, they'll do that because it's like a legacy fight. Usman's the second greatest welterweight champion, maybe third, depending on who you talk to. So that's what I think is going to happen. So if I'm Usman, I'm 100% waiting. If Jack Della Maddalena wins, Usman ain't getting a title shot. So Usman is hopeful that Islam wins. So we'll put it there. No, I don't think there's a single fighter on the UFC roster who has mismanaged their careers over the last 3 years more than Kamaru Usman has. His just inability to understand where the sport is at this current stage is incredible. Like, it is truly incredible. This whole notion that he is this massive 2 million pay-per-view can't miss draw when most of the fan base has only seen him fight Joaquin Buckley one time. That I don't understand who is in his ear telling him these things. Like, it could work out if Islam goes out and wins and calls out Usman. But if it doesn't, if JDM beats Islam Makhachev, he's screwed. Like, he is so screwed because he's going to be fighting a 100% healthy Shavkat next, and he's going to lose that fight. So it's just terrible mismanagement. He might get super lucky that it works out, but he has just, I don't understand what's coming out of his mouth and why it's coming out of his mouth. I don't get it.
He's not that far from it being right, but he's just not sticking the landing. I pulled up the quote while you were talking, and I just think he's a dork. What you do with dorks is ignore them. He's number one in the division. I'm below him, but I'm looking at the title. If I had the title and he's next, I'd happily kick his head in. It's good to just dismiss him, right? To be like, yeah, that guy's a dork. That's great. You're building beef. You're building heat. There's already heat there. But you could just be like, yeah, man, if I have to, I'll fight him. But why would I fight him right now? I think I'm about to fight for the title. You should be honest about this situation as opposed to actively trying not to fight him. I also think that whether he'll admit this or not, it's a pretty tough fight for Kamaru at this stage of his career. And it's probably a reason he doesn't want to fight him. So yeah, I do think Kamaru has botched it. That he is really putting a lot of stock in him being a star that he's just not. And maybe he's right, but I think maybe he's right and we're wrong. That could be the case.
He's not right.
He has placed a pretty healthy gamble on the power of his name and some goodwill with the promotion. And I do not believe it's going to pay off. I think he's going to have to fight somebody. And I don't know who he's going to fight, but they're all hard.
He's either fighting.
They're all hard. Every fight is hard. Shavkat is the best one he could hope for. And that's a hard goddamn fight,
Or he's going to fight. Yeah. Or he's going to fight the Sean Brady, Michael Morales winner.
Yeah, they're all hard
they're
fights.
All hard.
They're all tough. So maybe that's the calculus. This is look, every fight is hard. I'll just hope I can get it. And then I'll take what I have to if I have to. Maybe that's the calculus. He ain't getting no younger.
Yeah.
He ain't getting no younger.
He let the whole division pass him by. It's pretty rough, man. I know he wanted to come back healthy and make a strong run at this. I get it, but Can you imagine? Like, there are so many. He did step in and fight Hamza, and that was a great opportunity. But can you imagine if he had stepped in and fought Shavkat instead of Ian Gary? Like, that would have been, good Lord, man. Like, what a moment that he could have beat him. And then he would have got a freaking title fight.
Done that. I still don't really get why. I mean, now it's moot since Hamzat's the champ. I always thought he just lost. And I was like, yeah, just go up to middleweight, dude. You've done enough. Welterweight's got a lot of people. Middleweight's weaker. You can make a better run. Like, he could have been the dude to fight RDR. Maybe he beats RDR. You know, like he could have done a lot of things. And he hasn't done it. And again, it might still work out, right? Like I'm not ready to bury him, but it is unlikely given his age, the depth of the division, everything else that's happening at 170 pounds. He seems to be in a tough situation, and he is hoping for he's drawn to an inside straight, and he's hoping he gets that inside straight. Maybe he will, and it'll work. I am unconvinced.
I think he's down to like a 5-outer right now, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean, his only out is Islam winning. Like, that's the only out, and even then, I'm not certain it's going to work.
He needs Islam to say his name on the mic.
But like, Islam has to win, and I'm not certain that'll happen. I'm really not certain that Islam will win and fight again. If I'm Islam and I win that belt, there's not a world. If I'm Khabib, Islam, Javier Mendez, anybody in that camp, shit, if y'all are watching right now, if that dude wins, he should never fight again. It would be very stupid to have him fight again, unless he is getting paid $15 million. If he's getting paid $15 million, he could fight again. A dime less. Nope. Legacy secure. I don't need shit. I'm outie. Oh, apparently we're outie. I love that we're outie. Also, Mike, this actually works because if you don't talk while the music plays, you won't get garbled, and I can lead us into the out. Man, look, you're hearing Jimmy right now, Mike. You're seeing all the angles. This is a professional game. Ladies and gentlemen, UFC 321. How many hours away is it, Mike? Is your audio good now?
24 hours.
So good. Your audio is so good.
24 hours from now, we'll be smack dab in the watch party.
We will be thriving in the watch
People's
party.
Pre-Fight Show, 9:15 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning.
I'll be in my car.
There you go. You have something to do.
We'll be right. Honestly, Rakic Mirzakhanov will probably be starting right now in 24 hours from right now.
It's a terrific time, and I can't wait for it. Thank you for joining us. For Jed, I am Mike Heck. Great job letting the music play long enough so I don't get gargled.
I figured out what you were doing as you were doing. I was like, man, that's why you're a professional.
I'm doing that like I'm talking to the producer, but there's no.
That's why you're the best in the business, buddy.
We love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get some sleep. We got a long day tomorrow, and it's going to be a damn good time. Have a good night.
Love y'all.